Talking Riverside football here on the Mendola Show, and Harry Armstrong back at the helm. And Coach, talk about your excitement of being a head coach again.
Well, it's like being born again right now. It's really exciting to come in this time of the year. We have our players right now. They seem pretty hungry. They're buying into the system, what we're trying to do. And really, we're just trying to develop a culture, a work ethic, a way of doing things, competing as much as we can. And so far, we're only starting our 5th week together. But each week, we've been building on each other, and it's going well.
Always bring the positive energy. So talk a little bit about that becomes contagious with your kids.
Without a doubt, we want to bring as much positive energy as possible with everything that we're doing, whether it's in the weight room, in the meeting room, the locker room, and on the field. And that's part of the process that we're trying to embed. Just having that mindset, making it as fun as possible in all regards, because there's so much more than just Friday night with football. We want to have fun every week, sun up to sundown with it.
Let's talk about your job now as a head coach. You've done this before. Does a whole lot change in the last few years with you?
Well, things have changed. I was actually very shocked with how much the culture of this generation of student athletes has been, and I think social media has a lot to do with it. We're dealing with a lot of different issues with young men that we haven't been dealing with in decades previous. So there's a learning curve there for myself as well, and we're working through those things. But it's a high priority.
Let's talk a little bit about the on the field stuff, the X and O stuff that you just love, and outsmarting the other guy. You'll get an opportunity 10 times in the regular season to try to do that. Talk about the personnel you have at Riverside this year, and what you'll try to do with that personnel.
All right, well, personnel-wise, I think we have a very dynamic group. Starting with our guys up front, I feel like we have an athletic front 5 on offense and a defensive line that's going to be fast and be able to chase down the football and penetrate gaps. So I think our speed and athleticism up front is going to be a strength for us, so we're going to try to complement that and put as much pressure on the teams defensively and be as versatile on offense as we can be. And with our skill positions, we have like a Swiss Army knife group of type of guys. Right now we don't have one horse that we're going to rely on, but we have a group of guys with different skill sets that we're going to try to rely on and just create mismatches and utilize their strengths as best we can.
Quarterback, something that you'll put a lot of time into that quarterback. Is there one person this year, or is there a couple of guys?
Right now we have one person. John Gilchrist is going to be a sophomore, and he's a very smart young man. He's been one of our best guys from a work ethic standpoint. He's been a sponge as far as learning what we're trying to accomplish, growing as a quarterback. In this past month, we've done a tremendous amount of competition in 7-on-7s, trying to steepen his learning curve to get him up to that level of play as quickly as possible, and he's handling it very well right now. So I think a lot's going to be on his shoulders, but I have a tremendous amount of confidence in his ability to handle it.
Roster-wise, we're seeing a lot of change in the game of football. We're seeing, the people used to have 40s or in the 30s, people had 30s or in the 20s. Let's talk about at Riverside with the small school, what number you're at and what number you think you kind of need to be to kind of make sure safety-wise and you just have enough. Somebody goes down, you got to replace that person.
Absolutely, and that's certainly one of the challenges with the smaller public schools. And we're going to be between 35 and 40 is what we're anticipating. Our goal is to be at 40. That would be fantastic. To have that depth and to have a JV schedule and to have full practices, knowing that it's a long season, that there's going to be bumps and bruises. The odds of guys being 100% healthy for 10 weeks is 0%. It's part of football. So we are working on creating some depth with that, but we do have a lot of competition in multiple positions now, and we're also trying to create some more one-way players in as many positions as we can to try to help them along those lines with that so they can better perform.
Different things. We talked a little bit in the beginning about some of the differences. Huddle is something that's been out for several years now. In addition to that, putting time into your guys watching film and something you probably have done in the past, watching yourself, watching your opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about, has a whole lot changed in that area as far as the scheming part, the game planning?
Well, I think the technology is advancing, and what we found out in the 7-on-7s, as far as some of the competition we've gone, is that we think it's helped the entire game of high school football elevate its play. That we're seeing more precise routes being run, more precise concepts being developed on both sides of the football, and I think huddle and technology and social media has helped coaches and players alike, gain those advantages and utilize those in a competitive situation. So it's definitely going to be more demanding in regards to this day and age, how the game is changing and progressing, but it makes it more exciting that way too.
Not many people would have more pride than you do with the Riverside Vikings football program. So it's probably at its highest with you in the position you're in, and your job is to give these guys what you had, and hopefully they'll be able to follow through and wear those colors proudly.
Without a doubt. I'm near and dear to Riverside. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it right now, but for real, I want these guys to have that experience of what it feels like to be competitive every Friday night and to have a chance going into every game knowing that you can win that game if you give your best effort, every week and every day. And as long as we can provide that, it's going to be a great experience for these guys, and that's the number one thing.
Other coaches are going to now look at Riverside. Okay, hey, Harry's over there now. They know they're going to get a different mindset, and obviously it's just who you are. You're going to start thinking of things offensively that maybe some other coaches haven't thought of at other schools. So talk a little bit about what your preparation is to just, hey, this is who I am, this is who we are, and this is what you're going to get.
And with that preparation, John, it's a two-pronged approach. Right now, our main focus in going to camp is preparing our players just to elevate their skill set, get their fundamentals down, teach them how to work, how to compete, how to be accountable, and to bring out that inner competitor within them. And I think we have a really tough group of guys, and we're just trying to bring that out. But then once we get that established, now we can implement those things as far as game planning and how we can best utilize our players. And without a doubt, we will spend as an entire coaching staff and with our players, I think we have a smart group of guys. We are going to do our best to use that to our advantage. And the planning and preparation that goes in, myself, I'm fully committed to being a high school coach full time. I'm not working any other jobs right now. Other coaches, they're doing those things. They have to be in the school. They're working full-time jobs. They might have a lot of kids and family things going at home. I don't have. This is my family. These are my brothers. These are my sons. I'm doing everything I can for them. So, I mean, from a commitment level and time standpoint, I know that I'm going to outwork and put in the time to give these guys the best opportunity to have a chance to be the best versions of themselves out there.
Single scrimmage, something you haven't faced in the past, so what will that be like?
Interesting with the single scrimmage. Very excited that it's against Valley View. A tremendous program right now. Coach Juanis has done a phenomenal job up there establishing a culture of winning and playing tough and playing hard. So we're really going to have a great test early on to see what we can do from a physical standpoint against a team like Valley View. With the single contest, it puts a little more pressure on our team to be more efficient in how we evaluate our players and how we create competitive environments within practice, because you don't get that many opportunities to go live with just the one scrimmage before your first game.
And then you'll have a skilled Myers team in week one. That should be interesting because most people won't know what to expect out of Riverside this year. The expectations for Myers will be high, but nonetheless, it'll be an interesting game week one.
I think it's going to be an extremely interesting game. We're very fortunate to have our first game at home. Hopefully that'll be an advantage for us. We'll try to take advantage of that. But we got to look at Myers down there. We had some competition, 7-on-7s down at Wyoming Seminary, and it was great competition between both squads. And they have some elite speed on the perimeter. They have some dynamic players, and I know they'll have that on both sides of the football. So it could be a high-scoring affair in that regard. You never know how the game's going to unfold, though, but it's definitely going to be interesting, I think.
Well, Harry Armstrong, welcome back and congratulations, and have a great summer.
Thank you, John, very much.